संस्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। पवित्रं चरितं यस्याः पवित्रं जीवनं तथा पवित्रतास्वरूपिण्यै तस्यै कुर्मो नमो नमः। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। ओम सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते। In our last class, we were discussing about the Karma Yoga of Swami Vivekananda. We have taken the first chapter for our discussion, Karma in its effect on character. So, I was reading the last paragraph of the third page. I will read again and then continue. Swamiji is speaking about you cannot bring small children inside for the lecture. Baire. All these blows taken together are all called karma, work, action. Every mental and physical blow that is given to the soul, by which, as it were, fire is struck from it, and by which its own power and knowledge are discovered, is karma. By which, as it were, fire is struck from it, and by which its own power and knowledge are discovered, is karma. This word being used in its widest sense. Thus, we are all doing karma all the time. I am talking to you, that is karma. You are listening, that is karma. We breathe, that is karma. We walk, karma. Everything we do, physical or mental, is karma, and it leaves its marks on us. Till this we had read. So, it leaves a marks on us. So, the blow that we received through karma forms our character, either good or bad. And then before explaining this concept, Swamiji had explained that knowledge is within. No knowledge comes from outside. All knowledge is within, both secular and spiritual. After discussing that, Swamiji gave this point that karma leaves its marks on us. To understand how karma leaves marks on us, I had written the chart in the last month, in our last class on Karma Yoga. I will briefly explain today what we had discussed earlier and then continue with today's explanation. So, every karma has three effects. Any karma, every karma or any karma has got three effects. First is the phala, the fruit of actions, or the fruits of action. Or the second one is the karmic residue. Later its fructification is called the prarabdha karma. The cycle through which we are drawn into birth and rebirth, the bondage that forms due to prarabdha. And third one is the samskaras, where Swamiji is telling karma and it leaves its marks on us. It leaves a marks on us, the samskara, third. So, this we have to understand, these samskaras are not just images, just a Xerox copy of something. No. It is powerful and dynamic. This samskara, the impression that is left by doing karma, is very powerful and dynamic. That we have to understand. So, even under samskaras, we have two categories. Bhoga samskara and smruti samskara. Bhogavasana or smruti vasana. Bhogavasana samskara, smruti vasana samskara. Or if you feel it very confused, just understand Bhogavasana and smruti. Smruti is memory. So, what happens? Which karma do you call it a vasana? The experience or the actions, the tendency of a particular action or the thought or the experience makes us to repeat that particular actions is called a vasana. Suppose I gave the example of drinking a coffee. I drank a cup of coffee. I jokingly said, I have come to your house. You offered me, Swami, this is a Chikmagalur nice coffee, Kodagu nice coffee, pure coffee without chicory, etc. I drank that coffee. Then the desire rose in me to have a cup of coffee next day, same time at 5. Let us say you offered me at 5. Next day, exactly at 5, remember yesterday I had been to the devotee's house. He or she offered me such a nice coffee. So the experience or the karma which forces, gives an impulse to repeat that particular action is called the vasana. So, this is called Bhogavasana. Now coming to Smriti, I gave the difference. What is the difference between a Bhogavasana and a Smriti? Smriti is just an image. In the sense, suppose you may have an image of a coffee, but you don't have a desire to enjoy it. That is Smriti. If you have not experienced, suppose a person who has never drunk a coffee, he will never have a desire to drink one more cup of coffee. But he will have the Smriti of coffee. That is the difference between Smriti and Bhogavasana. But every karma will have both Smriti and Vasana. To differentiate, I am giving an example, that's all. Generally, for us, this Vasana and Smriti are interconnected. Now, coming to how does this Bhogavasana has been aroused, or Bhogavasana and Smriti has come through actions. Everything, what is the main source or the cause, karana yavadri, it is through karma. So, a karma produces Bhogavasana. And again, this Bhogavasana, I told you in the last class, can be classified into two. One is Vishaya Bhogavasana, Phala Bhogavasana, which I have explained all these things in my last class, even writing a chart on the board also for your reference. Vishaya, enjoyment of sense enjoyments, that is Vishaya Bhogavasana. Phala Bhogavasana, enjoying the fruits of action for which we plan whole the life. We have to work, we have to do so many things. We enjoy the fruits of action. It is called Phala Bhogavasana, Vishaya Bhogavasana. These two. Now, at this point, I had concluded. Now, continuing, the point that we have to understand is what forces us to, in the sense, suppose we are forced to do actions. Ata kena prayuktena papam charite purushaha. Forced by what? That we are prompted or in the forced to do certain actions, though we don't want to do, but still we are forced to do. Prompted by what? It is prompted by the will. Now we have to understand the connection between this Bhogavasana and the will. Now continuing today's discussion, I have given the summary of what we discussed in the earlier class. Now today will be dealing with the samskara and the connection between the samskara and the will. What activates the samskara on the physical level? What activates? It is the prana shakti which is active, life force, prana. We have prana. At the end part is always consciousness, chaitanya. In front of it is the sukshma sharira which carries the prana, where lies all our dormant samskaras. So how does samskaras rise into desire? Suppose I have a desire to drink a coffee. I have the impulse or a vasana to drink a cup of coffee. How does it rouse in the mind and comes as a thought and then converted into a desire? The prana shakti inside will always be activating this samskara. But just activating is not at all a problem. Activating a samskara is not at all a problem. It comes as a thought, a desire, a thought of a desire, particular desire, and just moves away. Suppose you are witnessing a sports, either a football or a hockey or a volleyball or a cricket match, something you are watching. If you are neither for a team A or B, you are a witness, just a witness. Watching a match will not disturb you. Suppose you are in favor of team A. If it loses, you are drawn to that losing. If you are on the side of B, winning or losing will draw your mind to that. So, just a thought as a desire is not at all a problem. As I told you, we have Vishaya Bhogavasana and Phala Bhogavasana. What happens when the samskaras rouse in the mind as a thought? Icha to enjoy just goes and hooks onto that samskara. Icha, the will. Then what happens? That desire becomes mine. Till then it was a witness. I was a witness to that thought of drinking a coffee. But what happens when the desire rouses? I have to drink a cup of coffee, then this desire goes and hooks to that samskara. Then you have to enjoy it inevitably. If it is repeated for many times. So when desire goes and attaches itself, so it goes and attaches itself to that samskara, then the desire becomes mine. Nannadu. Mama. Mama. Shishti. Ekavachana. So, we have to be, there lies our sadhana here. Where does the karma yoga sadhana lies? As such, all samskaras will be hidden, latent, subliminal, in a subliminal state, as a in a latent state, suptavaste, subliminal state. But what happens if you don't give a physical expression to that desire? It's not a problem to some extent. But if you are trying to give a physical expression to the desire, your will gets attached and gives a physical expression to the samskara or a bhogavasana. So what we have to do at this moment is, we should be able to detach the will from the vasana. Bhogavasana is there, it's a samskara. Your will trying to get attached to that vasana, you are through your good actions, you are trying to withdraw the will from being attached to the Bhogavasana. This is the first freedom that a karma yogi will experience. The freedom of his will being attached to, getting attached to the samskaras. So in the very first class, what is that? By following karma yoga, we are actually purifying the will. That was the first statement when I studied the first, we started with the last chapter, the ideal of karma yoga. When I spoke on ideal of karma yoga, each yoga has a particular aspect, emotional aspect, psychological aspect. When you come to karma yoga, what we tried to discuss was that through karma yoga, you are purifying the will. So here, what happens is, the will gets attached to the Bhogavasana. Very first, the primary purpose of a karma yoga is to detach this will from the Bhogavasana. Now trying to explain it further, you see, when this will, by doing proper action, karma yoga, what happens? The will is little freed from getting attached to vasana. What happens next step? What is the next step? When the will is freed from the Vasana, then our yearning for God, our aspiration for God, makes the will turn inward. Pratyagatmanam aikshat avarta chakishu amritatnamichan. Many, maybe 99% of the devotees, they say, "Ori, how to meditate, how to sit for japa, we sit for japa, nothing happens." Why nothing happens? All vasanas are hidden. Your will gets attached to vasanas. It will never go until you free the will from vasanas, getting attached to samskara. However much you try, 10 hours of the day sitting for japa, it goes into attached. It is the nature of the will that we have trained by doing lot of bad actions earlier. Don't feel that bad actions means only crime. That which is taking away from God is all bad actions. Whatever actions done, which is not allowing us to go towards the Atman or the knowledge of the infinite, is always bad actions for a spiritual aspirant. So that's why doing all those actions for ages, not in one janma, many pura janmas. Our will is always getting attached to, though we say we don't want it, but still it goes there. That's why what happens, even we sit for meditation and japa for 10 minutes, okay, after that, all our thoughts start drowsing up. By pura samskara, by purvantara janma kritam, papam ya sukritam, all those things comes up. So what has happened? Then, when this aspiration or yearning for God makes this will turn inward, is called by Sureshwaracharya Pratyak Pravanata. That is the first step. Pratyak Pravanata. The will should be turned inward. Pratyak Pravanata. The interiority of the mind. It's called in English. Interiority of the mind. Pratyak Pravanata. It will not happen. They give one example also in Vedanta. Just like a rainy clouds bring rain, after the rain, along with the rains, even the clouds disappear. Is it not? Along with the rain, clouds also get disappeared. In the same way, karma yoga will give you pratyak pravanata. Pratyak pravanata. Once you get pratyak pravanata, your karma falls. That's the Vedantic standpoint. But still this step, we have to agree, through karma, you purify the will, not getting attached to Bhogavasana. By purifying your will through the aspiration for God, it gets the tendency to go inside, pratyak pravanata. So this is the first step for a karma yogi. Why karma yoga is done? To get this pratyak pravanata. What is the goal of karma yoga? Knowledge. Swamiji, in the very first paragraph, Swamiji defined it in the karma yoga in its effect on character. What is the goal of karma yoga? Knowledge, not karma. That's why now vasana is produced by karma. The connection between vasana and the will is produced by karma. Now, to deactivate this connection between vasana and the will should be done by karma alone. What has been done by karma should be undone by karma itself. Is it not? Simplest calculation. So, right actions should be contradicted. Bad actions should be contradicted by right action. That is the first step. So, please understand one thing very clearly. The bad effects of all the karma, or to put it in one single sentence, the effects of all the karma that we have done cannot be neutralized in the initial stages by thinking alone. No. Just think and do nididhyasana on this afterwards. Whatever effects of karma that's there cannot be contradicted by any techniques. There are so many techniques taught online. Everything is online. So many gurus are there available online for you to read and learn. What are the effects of karma that we have done for ages together? Can it be contradicted by just thinking, I am Atma, Brahma? At the present stage, can you do it? Or by many, there are so many tactics they teach you. It's relatively good for a relative time, not eternally. So, by doing or performing good actions, you have to contradict bad actions, and that is the first through which we attain the purification of the mind. Through attaining the purification of mind, we attain to a state of freedom where our will gets detached from the vasana. When it rouses, vasanas always rise. Till we get spiritual illumination, none of the vasanas are burnt. It remains as latent. Suptavastena, it will remain. It will not go. It will remain in the Sukshma Sharira. So, what happens? Only after spiritual illumination, final spiritual illumination, all those parandrishtva nivartate. It is burnt. Even after burning, it will remain as an image. As Sri Ramakrishna says, suppose you burn a rope. What happens? The ashes in the form of the rope still remains, but it will not bind you. It is a rope in the form of an ash, resembling a rope, but it has no strength to bind you. So once you get spiritual illumination, then all vasanas will be burnt. Just to show that vasanas were existing till then, it remains as just as a mark. Till spiritual illumination, none of the vasanas cannot be burnt. But the primary step through karma yoga is purifying the mind, freeing the will from the vasanas. You attain to pratyak pravanata. When we come to pratyak pravanata, karma yoga is an unavoidable discipline for the purification of the mind. It's an unavoidable discipline. That's why many people, when they speak of Vedanta, we cannot tell, you see, whether they are at a state to do or lead that life through that yoga is very difficult to explain. That every individual has to introspect himself. Unless one attains a basic level of purity, this pratyak pravanata will not come. Once you get pratyak pravanata, okay, the karma itself will get dropped. It will not remain. It will not allow you to do phala sankalpa. The sankalpa, what happens actually, when this vasana rouses in the mind, when the will gets attached to the samskara, we do the sankalpa. Then only sankalpa resolve. Every puja you have to do sankalpa. Many people does not know Swami has not sankalpa. If you go to any temple, they say, oh, saparivarena. What is my parivara? Sakutumbasya. They will do archana for us also. Swami namadesya. What namadeya? Gotrodbhavasya. What gotra? Swami cannot tell his gotra all over. He has taken sannyasa. But still, saparivarsya, kutumbasya, he will do archana. That detachment has to be, we are at a stage where we are trying to detach ourselves. But still we don't know many famous Agama Shastras, those who do perform at puja in temples, they don't know Swamis have neither gotra. They have gotra in Purvashrama, not in this sannyasa ashrama. Anyhow, last week, 1 week I was in Andhra. In between LHS, I used to visit many temples also, nearby temples. Wherever you go, that was Parivar Saga Kutumba. I tell what my Parivar Vak Kutumba. So, this sankalpa gets aroused. When this will gets attached to samskara, sankalpa is there. When sankalpa is there, I am responsible for that action. Effects of that action. You are a witness, you are not responsible. Once it's attached, we are responsible. That's why, to contradict all bad actions, you have to perform right actions or good actions. Hence, karma yoga is an unavoidable discipline for the purification of the mind. Even Bhagavan Shankara says, Nahi achalataha, nahi achalataha, nahi achalataha shuddhirasti. Nahi achalataha. Chalataha is one who moves. Achalataha, one who does not move. Remains inert. Nahi achalataha shuddhihi asti. Shuddhirasti. Refa. Rakara. Agama. Shuddhirasti. One who does not perform any action, never he will get purification of the mind. There is no purification for one who does not work. Even Bhagavan Shankara says this is a Gnani Yogi. That's why it is very, very necessary to understand karma before doing it into karma yoga. When we attain a certain level, then you can choose any path that you like later on. Of course, bhakti also has a karma, but they define in a emotional aspect or a prema surupa. Satu parama prema surupa, Narada Bhakti Sutra. Satu parama prema surupa, he is the nature of love. Who is God? He is the nature of love. So I do all actions through the love for God. Here, purifying the will. Through purifying the will, it gets converted into an aspiration and converted or diverted inside. Pratyak pravanata. So, this is the connection between the Bhogavasana, Bhoga Smriti, and the will getting attached to Vasana, converted into a Sankalpa. So, detaching oneself from that Vasana is the first step in Karma Yoga. Once we attain purification, it gets diverted inward, then it gets a second level of Karma Yoga. Now, continuing the Karma Yoga of Swamiji here. Now, Swamiji gives one example here. Suppose, let us say you go to a Chennai. Chennai has not got so much rocks. Mangalore, let us say. You go for a Mangalore, evening Someshwara. Someshwara is the seashore beach near one of the cleanly maintained beach in Mangalore. So you stand near that Someshwara, there is a temple on the seashore and so many rocks around, in and around near the seashore. So what happens if you stand near a rock near the seashore, huge waves come and dash against the rocks, through which you hear loud noise of the waves. This is the example is given by Swamiji now. He is trying to explain something. If you stand near a seashore, having rocks in between, so many big waves dash against these rocks and you hear loud noise of the waves. So when these waves dash against a rock and you get a loud noise, it is an accumulation or congregation of millions of drops of water, not just one single drop. Suppose a drop of water comes and dashes against a rock, you will not hear the sound, but still there is a noise. When a drop of water, let us say it falls on this table, there is a noise of the water falling droplet on this table. We don't hear it. You accumulate millions of drops of water and you make it drop on this table, then you will hear it. So, thousands of waves have joined together. In each wave there are millions of droplets, all gets accumulated, dashes against a rock, then you hear a loud noise. So every action is going to create a character. This is the meaning of Swamiji. Swamiji is trying to make us understand. Every action that is performed consciously, unconsciously, is like a noise heard later. Not today. In our day-to-day activity, many actions are unconsciously done. Instinct, out of instinct. How do you drive a car? It has become an instinct. You have traveled, you have been trained in the earlier time how to use the clutch and gear and the brake, ABC, accelerator, brake and clutch. So how you are trained? Consciously you are trained. Apply the brake, apply the clutch, change the gear, etc. Once you have done consciously, slowly gets converted into an unconscious action. Unconscious actions done for so many days gets converted into an instinct. You are not aware in which gear you are moving the vehicle. It becomes very unconsciously. So, all these actions done for so many ages, you will hear as an unconscious human being. It's a loud noise heard. हठात ये ऐसा क्यों किया? हठात नहीं किया, आज हमने उसको देखा. He did not do it. We did it. We heard it now. But it was going on for so many days, for so many years before. So, as many waves accumulated together gives a loud noise, so many single, minute actions done unconsciously gives results after 10 years, 15 years. That's why, how to understand a great personality or a great person, not through great actions, Swamiji says. He has to be judged by the very small actions that he does every day. Minutest actions are a simple work done every day. That decides the personality of a man, not through great actions. You may see nowadays you have a lot of hue over media. Somebody does some action, suddenly he will come on the media. Tomorrow he is not at all there because he did it to a spur of moment. If something happened on the road, he did it unconsciously for that particular moment. He became great. After 5 years, where he is, nobody knows. Even media does not know. So, you cannot define a man, personality of a man through a great actions. No. It has to be decided by the minutest of the actions that he will do every day. Here he does not give the examples. But in many other occasions, Swamiji brings the example Pavhari Baba. He brings the examples of course, there he brings the examples of Pavhari Baba. Even in the life of Totapuri, he used to clean his kamandalu every day. It was very clean, sparklingly clean. Oh, even if you go to our temple, there puja vessels you see, any cockroaches moving around temple in our Ramakrishna mission, anywhere. No cockroaches and ants move around in our temple. You see our vessels, all done by our brahmacharis and sadhus, sparklingly neat and clean. We use every day turmeric, not powder. It's tamarind only. For all brass vessels. Every day it is washed with the same intensity. You see it very clean, neat and tidy. All the vessels, you get arti. Is it not? After 7 o'clock you get arti. You see how arti is very clean. It's clean. You don't see a small, even a very speck of any dot or anything or dirt on that. So, Swamiji says, how do you define that character? If you read the life of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he had very few things, but all the things should be kept at a particular place. He says, even at night, without light, I should be able to use those articles without light at night. You have got so many examples, I don't want to go into any examples, just hinted that Sri Ramakrishna's incidents here. That's why Swamiji says, great occasions rouse even the lowest of human beings to some kind of greatness, but he alone is the really great man, whose character is great always, the same wherever he be. That's why, all this, if we are not conscious of the actions, all the small actions gets accumulated, every day gets accumulated. And gives a loud noise later on. You complain. Many people, when they take Mantra Diksha, the Guru says, at least do so many things, 5,000, 50 mala, 100 mala. Swamiji, I don't get time. Why? Swamiji, so much I try to get up in the early morning. At least, I say, at least at 5. No, because so many years you have got late by 7, 8, and Sunday is a holiday. Today is holiday for you people, not for a Swami, say. Huh? If I go to schools and colleges and all there, I ask them, why do you need a holiday? Who told you that you... It's all mental makeup. Once we understand that there is no holiday, mind will not ask for a holiday. Once we are trained for a holiday, always it seeks holidays. So, when you are trained Sunday, you trained Sunday that you will get up at 8. Always it gets up at 8, not at 7:59 also. Even getting at 7:59, oh, today I got up 1 second early. Great mental barrier. Why? Because so many long years you have practiced getting up late, and it is hearing as a loud noise now that you are unable to do it for, let us say, that's why mandala, sankalpa is done through mandala, 48 mandala. Somehow we manage mandala. Ayyappa Swami Mala they put, somehow they manage 48 days. Those who can't do, they will do it for 3 days. But can you do it for lifelong? Oh, Swamiji, oh, yeah. We are not come to become sannyasis. We did not ask you to become that. But perform actions consciously. If undone with the unconsciously done, all actions lead to a loud noise later on. Not today. As a wave hits a rock, it takes millions of water droplets and thousands of small waves accumulated and hits a rock. In the same way, whatever actions that we have done, we are doing, we have done, it's a samskara hidden inside as a vasana. It has to come, it will come, we have to answer all those questions. It will come, it has to. That's why, beware, be aware, beware, be aware of all the actions that we do consciously. That is why Swamiji is hinting, greatness lies not in doing greatest actions. Greatness lies in doing every actions greatly. This what Sri Ram Swamiji is trying to make us understand. That's why he says, karma in its effect on character is the most tremendous power that man has to deal with. I repeat, karma in its effect on character is the most tremendous power that man has to deal with. It's a tremendous power. Karma has got a tremendous power. So its effect on character is the thing that we have to deal with. It gives tremendous power. If you know how to extract that power from it. So, now, he continues, he tries to explain this through an example of life of Buddha and Jesus. Very nicely Swamiji explains here. You see so many things going on in this world. Tremendous work. Cities are being built, machines are built, wars are held. Isn't it? Now, Russia, Ukraine are at wars now. Big wars are fought. In Napoleon time, so many wars. He says, in many wars I have fought, but the memory of Waterloo will wash away all my Napoleon Bonaparte, when he was in St. Helena, he was imprisoned in his last days in St. Helena, a small island, maybe 2-3 kilometers island. They thought if we allow him, he will do something. They were so much afraid of Napoleon Bonaparte. So it's a island like Andaman and Nicobar Islands, far away from the mainland, Italy. So then he was imprisoned. This also, of course, off the track, but he has got a tremendous will. Swamiji is trying to explain. I will come back to that point. So when Napoleon Bonaparte was imprisoned there in Helena, St. Helena Island, he, in his prison, he will say, though Napoleon will be remembered later days that he fought so many wars, but one memory of Waterloo, he fought against England. Russian Tsar. This Western history is very nice. If somebody is interested, please read it. So many ideas we get. Many of our history records here, when there was a war between French, between English and French here, where Tipu Sultan also participated. I was confused why they were getting at war here in India. They had a repulsion in the Indo-Austrian war there, Austria war, Anglo-Austrian war. That repercussions we had in India here. Then after reading Western history, then I understood the link. Anyhow, now coming to Napoleon, here Bonaparte, he said, he had such a tremendous willpower. In one case, just to show, he was supposed to cross a small bridge. I think he was entering Austria. Enemies were on the other side. He was on this side. They were already on the bridge firing. They could not enter the bridge. These soldiers were not able to enter because they were receiving the firing from the other side. Then they reported Napoleon, "Sir, we cannot move. The firing has already started from the enemy side. It's a narrow ridge. We cannot enter. Though if we enter, all of us will be killed." Then Napoleon thought, he is a tremendous man of willpower. Swamiji liked his willpower. Then he took the flag. He asked for the flag. Simply took a horse and started riding on the ridge, shouting, "Please save your leader." He shouted with that flag, "Please save your leader." Then all the army people came. They were first to come and they saved their leader and then they crossed the ridge. That was his tremendous willpower. That's what Swamiji says. All the personalities of the world that you see, Buddha, Jesus, like if you came on a secular level, if you say Napoleon Bonaparte, all they had tremendous willpower. So where this will was produced, how this will was produced, Swamiji gives the answer. All the greatest work in this world were the manifestations of the will of the man. So where this will was produced, Swamiji gives a mathematical equation here. This will is caused by character. And character is manufactured by karma. Will formed by character, character is formed through karma. Take care of your karma, you get a gigantic will like Buddha. Very easy equation. Take care of karma that you do every day. You are doing cooking. Consciously do that cooking. You are attending Aarti between 7 to 7:40. Consciously attend. Every word you hear consciously. Khandana, Bhava Bandhana. Then the thought will come. Bhava Bandhana should be done Khandana. Means you will be out of this Bhava. You will transcend this Bhava. That's the meaning of Khandana. But it is not happening because I am not at all feeling the Bandhana. When you feel that it is a bandhana, then you pray, then there will be khandana. If you don't feel that bandhana, Swamiji, I am happy with my family, so nice, then be in bandhana. When does khandana will happen? When there is a bhava bandhana. When there is no bhava bandhana, there is no khandana. So, consciously utter every word. Before trying to utter consciously, don't indulge in gossiping, harate. So many devotees I see, even before they will be doing harate, they are sitting here on the chair. They were busy because Sri Ramakrishna Aarti is at 7. We have time till 7. So gossiping, harate. All your will is frittered. That's why Swamiji says, will is formed by character. Character is formed by karma. So as is karma, so is the manifestation of the will. Seeing his karma, you can understand his will. Through will, you get a character. Through character, you get a will. Karma, character, will. That is the connection. That's why Swamiji says here, how this will is performed, they means meaning Buddha, Jesus and all those people. They got by persistent work through ages and ages, not by 1 or 2 days. Please Please be conscious of this. They got by persistent work through ages and ages. Such a gigantic will as that of a Buddha or a Jesus could not be obtained in one life. Could not be obtained in one life, for we know who their fathers were. Swamiji says, there are so many thousands of carpenters even today, like Joseph. This will is not a hereditary property. My father has got for 10 crore asset. I will get a 10 crore asset. Its will not come like that. None of the will that you see a gigantic like Buddha and Paramahamsa and Mata, Sharda Mata, it's not hereditary. That's why Swamiji says Jesus' father was a Joseph, who was a carpenter. Thousands of carpenters are there in the world. Rather, millions of carpenters are there in the world. None of them gave a son like Jesus. It's Jesus alone. Buddha's father was a king, Siddhartha's. So many kings were there, but none could give a son like Buddha. Through ages, through actions, he has come to a character which gives such a will. Like Buddha, it's not through hereditary. It's not a hereditary transmission. That's why Swamiji says, the gigantic will which Buddha and Jesus threw over the world, whence did it come? Whence did it come? Whence came this accumulation of power? It must have been there through ages and ages. It must have been there through ages and ages, continually growing, bigger and bigger, until it burst on society in a Buddha or a Jesus, even rolling down to the present day. Now you connect this example to the seashore, all the waves hitting the rock, hearing a loud voice. You hear a loud voice like Buddha or Jesus. This will, determination, that character was being formed through ages. You have a certain amount of will, is strengthened through a character, through karma. Again it is strengthened still more by through more of good actions, and it gets strengthened. And one day, after through ages and ages, you will get a character like Buddha or Jesus. Then you will hear the noise. If you see some great personality, remind yourself, it has not come through one life. It has come through many lives. So don't try to compare yourself with that. You start from today doing conscious actions. Doing actions consciously. Then one day, we will become Buddha or Jesus. We will. But at the first level, we have to purify our actions through Karma Yoga, which is an unavoidable path. Now Swamiji continues here. All this is determined by karma, work. No one can get anything unless he earns it. This is an eternal law. No one can get anything unless he earns it. This is an eternal law. Please read it, understand it many times. Don't ignore such sentences when you read at home. No one can get anything unless he earns it. Somebody is enjoying. Don't feel jealous. He has earned it. Some bad thing has happened. Don't be depressed because you have earned it. We have earned it. I have earned it. This is an eternal law of this nature, of this Prakriti world. No one can get anything unless he earns it. This is an eternal law. Because generally, we say he is responsible, X, Y, Z. Father is responsible, mother is responsible, my hereditary is responsible, Ramakrishna Mata is responsible. In a preliminary sense, As a kindergarten explanation, it is accepted. But once you grow, cross adulthood, enter into a middle life, you should not again give those examples. That he is responsible, she is responsible, society is responsible. Why are you like this? Why are you having a personality or a character? Swamiji, he is responsible, she is responsible. No. You don't earn, you don't get that which does not come to you. You earn whatever you have gained earlier. Nothing comes for which you are not accepted. Nothing will come which you have not earned. Everything comes to us which we have earned earlier. You are hearing the noise now, today. Those actions got accumulated in our earlier days or even previous birth. That's why never blame me. If you are a true karma yogi, never blame anybody. Never blame anybody. Don't make anybody responsible for your life, for everything. We alone are responsible. Because it is very difficult to accept, especially in a family life, lot of misunderstandings nowadays. It's more compared to earlier days, I think. They have lot of complaints other than their in-laws, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, husband, wife, children, father, mother. No, none of them are responsible. You are alone responsible. Ponder on it and take the responsibility at the first level by withdrawing the will from the vasana, trying to purify the action so that we get pratyak pravanata. That is the first step of a karma yoga. I will conclude here because if I continue, the idea gets elaborated still further, for which we don't have time now. And next week, of course, we will be doing Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga in Kannada, hence I have stopped it here. Next month is April. Probably I will be in Bangalore. If I am in Bangalore, I will be taking in the first Sunday, Karma Yoga of Swami Vivekananda. Second Sunday, of course, I am not in Bangalore. For 10 days, I will not be in Bangalore. In the second and third week of April. The first week I will be there, so probably. So, we will continue this Karma Yoga next month, first Sunday. Next week, Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga. With this, I conclude. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.